Well, I was walking down the street, just a feeling blue, when I saw a game trailer that split my soul in two, with brush strokes and bullets and colors that scream. It's like Picasso had a nightmare and built it in a dream. Shooby-doo-wop, oh baby, Clair obscure. Shooby-doo-wop, it's got that painterly allure. Made by 30 folks who ran from Ubisoft. Now they're dropping bombs of beauty that'll blow your socks off. Shooby-doo-wop. They said, let's ditch the towers and forget those maps. No more stealthing through bushes or looting in traps. They took a canvas, dipped it in pain. Now it's got more heart than a French noir train. Snap, 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 snap. There's no microtransactions, no battle pass blues, just existential dread in some real nice shoes. You kill with poetry and live with regret. It's the prettiest panic attack you've had yet. Snap, snap, snap. There's no microtransactions, no battle pass blues, just existential dread in some real nice shoes. You kill with poetry and live with regret. It's the prettiest panic attack you've had yet. Shooby-doo-wop, shooby-doo-wop, oh honey, Clair obscure. Shooby-doo-wop, you're avant-garde, I'm sure. 30 rebels with a paintbrush and a dream, turning trauma into gameplay like a dang grenade scream. So if you like your games with soul and flair, and French devs giving A the coldest stare, come join the party in Expedition 33, where art fights back and it's très magnifique. Shooby-doo-wop, yeah, Clair obscure. Do-wop, oh, Tamri, shooby-doo.
16 times the detail.
My heart, I booted up my PC back in 2006.
I'm happy.
Met a guy named Martin, man, his chin could break bricks.
Got out to the test club.
Dedrick gates were open and I saved Kvatch that night. But these days, Todd Howard can't script a game right. I miss the wacky guards yelling, stop, you violated the law. And mud crabs with tude like they're flexing their claw. I'd stroll through the shivering aisles, high on skooma and dreams. Now Starfield's got me mining space rocks and jeans. Back to the oblivion, baby, where the quests were weird and gravy. From Shiogarat's cheese to Lucian's ghost, it had more charm than Todd could ever post. Yes, Starfield's big, but it's dull and gray. I'd rather close an oblivion gate today. Now listen here, Todd, you silver-tongued crooner. You sold me lies smoother than a Khajiit moon sugar dealer. You see that planet? You can go there. Yeah, I went, it sucked, it's just a rock and despair. I want my persuasion wheel, my glitchy horse on a roof. I want that beggar with 6 voices telling me the truth. Make the liar had more insight and flair than all your procedurally generated air. Back to the oblivion baby, where the gates were hot and the jokes weren't lazy.
Something's wrong with the game.
Yeah, Skyrim was fine and the mods were neat, but Oblivion's heart had a weirder beat. So Todd, my boy, if you're hearing this song, bring back the weird and don't take so long. Doo-wop, Daedric pop, Martin Septim never dropped. But Starfield made me stop playing. Oh, Todd, please stop.
Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. We have much to discuss today, do we not? We do. We do. Buckle up, buckaroo, for we do. I have a couple of things we'll open. We have a couple of little stories and tidbits to run through, some updates on some things that have happened in the last handful of days, and another story that I never could have possibly predicted. Is anybody else having trouble getting X, Twitter, or whatever to load? I don't know what the deal is. What's the deal? I wanted to pull up a stupid story and show you, but now it's saying it can't load. I don't know. Well, this was the stupid story. They're making a split fiction movie, apparently, and they're going to have Sydney Sweeney in it. Like, not on my bingo card. I did not. What? Like, huh? Okay, cool. Like, it might be awesome. Honestly, of any game in recent memory that could work as a movie, I think Split Fiction is one of them, because it is very trippy, and it would be cool to have scenes where like characters are going through the exact same area but flip. Like there's cool stuff you could do, is what I'm saying. BioShock could also work really well. I agree. But I just, for one, I'm surprised that it's happening so soon. Secondly, I'm surprised that they already got Sydney Sweeney on board, and they got John Chu, who did Wicked and Crazy Rich Asians. Like, they already have kind of a stacked team working on it. And they have Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick screenwriting it, who did Deadpool and Wolverine. What? Like, it's very interesting. Did I get a Switch 2? No. That leads me into this. Thank you for the segue. So as I promised, I guess this is sort of a segment. News segment thing. As I said in a video talking about the Switch 2 stuff a while back, I am not buying a Switch 2 at launch. I'm sure eventually I will get one when I've got a cover or something. But I just want to do like my little part by not spending money recklessly and vote with my wallet that I don't like Nintendo's practices this time around. So at launch, I'm not getting one. So no, I do not have a Switch 2, but that meant that I had money burning a hole in my pocket. And as you know, YouTubers, we love spending money. It's basically all we do. So I spent that money elsewhere. As you can see behind me, I have a collection of statues. These are mostly collector's editions from various games that I feel have high import in the history of the industry. We've got like KCD 2. This is the Order 1886. The reason I have that one is not just because it's a beautiful sculpt and statue by itself, but also because I think that game actually is, it had way bigger of an influence on the industry than you think. Most of the people that made that game at Ready at Dawn ended up moving on to Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica, and they would go on to make God of War 2018 and The Last of Us Part 2. So this game actually had a major impact on the industry as a whole, even if it didn't do super well by itself. But yeah, Cyberpunk, The Last of Us Part 2, Horizon, I just keep that there so Jor keeps talking to me. Of course, we have Elden Ring. This is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
It's there mainly because I haven't had anything else to put in its place. This is another complicated story. This is not from a game. It's L'Inconnu délaissé. It's a whole story by itself. Johnny Silverhand. Oh yeah, of course, from Shadow of the Air Tree. An expansion that had its own statue. Oh, this thing is the Lies of P. Like super crazy kit. It has like the metal heart inside. It's really, really cool. We of course have the pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Titanic, all of that stuff. But we need to add to the collection today. And because I didn't get a Switch 2, how else am I going to do it? Well, first things first is this little guy. He's just a little fella. I had an inkling, a hunch, dare I say, that Expedition 33 was going to be remarkable. It just was one of those games that you could just see, I have to use my feet, that you could see a lot of potential with. You know, you're like, this is going to be big. This is going to be good. And it ended up being phenomenal. But this little collector's edition, which is since sold out, and I don't think you can find it anywhere. There's a couple things. I already unwrapped the bubble wrap so we wouldn't get the styrofoam everywhere. But we have a couple little tidbits. For one, the steelbook is beautiful. Is beautiful, very beautiful steelbook. They have the Expedition Journal, and this basically just has a bunch of artwork in it from the creation of the game. It's very pretty. Lets you see as they were making it kind of what artwork they were looking at. I love this kind of thing. And then they have a hand-painted statue of the monolith. I have to put it in front of my face, otherwise the camera doesn't want to focus. And yeah, it's hand-painted. They had some person slave away on this thing. And it's beautiful. The monolith with the paintress in front. So we have a new addition to the studio. Maybe we put it right here. Or it gets its own lighting. I think that's only fair. Put this in the background. Love it. Love it. Now you might be wondering, Luke, what's the other massive stupid box that you got? I'm glad you asked. There's another game coming later this year. There's another game. I haven't looked at this yet, so I don't actually know if what I think is in there, but we're going to find out together, okay? I just picked it up like 20 minutes ago after our workout. So I cut open the box, and yeah, we'll see if what I think is in there. But there's another game coming later this year. Allegedly. And this game, very important. Yeah, a game, you do say. Very important, okay? Integral to I think one multi-billion-dollar company's trajectory over the last 10 years or so. It really formed the direction of the company for a while. And it did have a collector's edition back in the day, but they were incredibly difficult to find. Well, I found a guy in Singapore. This is why I'm really hoping what I think is in there. And this guy happened to have an original collector's edition of this project. Again, we're going to find out together if this is actually what it is or if it's just totally not. Okay, so let's go wide angle. Let's see. They packaged it decently, at least. Okay. Some people can already see. You can already kind of see what it may be. Dude, he takes the crap out of this. I don't know if anybody's guessed it yet, actually. I don't actually know. Oh, wait. No, we just got the first one. Okay, I appreciate the painter's tape on the box so it doesn't leave residue. Smart. Good play. Just want to get it out. Okay. I'm a YouTuber. I don't know how to open stuff. Bear with me. Dude, what a throwback is this? What a throwback. Oh no! Okay, it's ripping some of the box paper. We have to be careful. Because this box is like very old, and I'm sure it's just been sitting in a warehouse for a decade. Okay, all the bubble wrap. But as you can see, It is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Dead Men Tell No Tales, the collector's edition. Now, this one in particular is the Asian edition. So it is not the US version. And the copy of the game that's in here, allegedly, again, I don't know for sure if it's in here, is for the PlayStation 3, but it's region locked to Asia. So I wouldn't even be able to play it even if I wanted to. But who knows? Maybe if one of you guys out there in the members and Twitch sub only Discord has a PS3 and you happen to be in the region of Asia, maybe we can do a giveaway. I'll send it to you and you can use it. I'm mainly interested in it for the statue and the art book thing that they have in here. I'll show you. Last piece of tape. So it was open to verify contents. So it's not factory sealed or anything. But it's pretty rare to have the original box in this condition all these years later. Because again, this was manufactured like probably 2013 in preparation for the 2014 release. But oh, look at this. Still sealed PS3 copy of AC3 or of AC4 Black Flag, not AC3. Still plastic shrink wrapped. Okay. Wow. And then let's see. Dude, the plastic has turned yellow. That's wild. Come here. Come here. You're about to understand why I wanted this, okay? For the studio. So Edward stands on the bow of the ship. How do I... my brain is breaking. Stands on the bow of the ship. Yes, with Booba. Okay. I'm surprised they didn't twist tie him in. They left him just like floating around. It's not secure. See, some of these are still like locked and loaded inside. Others are totally loose. And there doesn't really seem to be a rhyme or reason for which ones are secure and which ones aren't. I don't know. It's the Uppies statue. Okay. Yeah, see, like this one's secured, but the one holding the main character was not. Okay. Set that there. This one's secured randomly. Okay. I appreciate that occasionally it's secured. Okay. Sword. Okay. And then one last piece of mast. Okay. It's okay, Edward. You're safe now. I always think of something like this. You know, like Toy Story 2, when Jesse's like, I'm not going into the dark again. I'm not. We were in a storage for a long time, Woody, waiting for you. I just always think of that. I feel bad for the toys that have been locked away. I could look up a picture of how I'm supposed to put this together, but there's not a lot of fun in that, you know? This looks like it goes here. Ish. Is there a groove? Is there not a groove? Did you see Luke break that new collector's edition the moment he got it? Yeah. I wasn't surprised. Dude's a dumbass. Okay. One. This one actually does have like a little post markers in it. Maybe, maybe not. This one looks like it's supposed to go right here. It's just a little tight. There we go. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Stop it, Edward. Edward, stop. He pressed a button on the Steam Deck or Stream Deck, whatever it is. And then he stands, where's his foot post? Where's the foot post, Edward? Oh, it's here. I see. And basically what's going to happen is the flag goes up like that. And then we have sails and stuff that hang from the mast down into his hand back down. So he's like hanging from it. It's like kind of overkill. It's a bit much. But it's like just a beautifully massive statue. Like it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. So, because I know this is going to take like 20 minutes for me to carefully place together, and I think I might have to like glue some of it to keep it like really locked down, I'm going to set it to the side for now. With booba and all. Okay. Okay. There you go. Isn't that just beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? Just take it in. Take it in. He's been in the dark. He's been in the dark for so many years, and now he finally gets to sit in some loser's basement while he talks about a bunch of random video games. Isn't that tremendous? I'm honestly surprised this is still factory sealed. That's wild. But, yeah. Oh, dude, it requires 4,600 megabytes of storage on your hard drive. You got to be ready for that. I need to upgrade. Man, they don't make them like that anymore. So, yeah. May not have gotten a Switch, but I got something I think is better. Okay. Plastic. Painted plastic. Suck it, nerds. Suck it. It's not a doll. It's an action figure. It's a collectible. It's not a doll. I told you stop going full force. Dude, those were the days. Those were the days. Don't go full force. Okay. Okay. Let me go here. I wanted to show you guys something. Okay. Okay. I wanted to touch on this real quick. So you remember... Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I should catch up on these real quick before I move into this. Because I found a bunch of clips of people who had never seen The Last of Us before, who saw The Last of Us episode 2. We'll talk about it. It's pretty funny. Let's see. Mr. CEO Kill, thank you for the membership. And also thank you for re-upping the membership as well. People are craving the older games nowadays for real. What do you think that is? I think it's sort of like the aftermath of Clair Obscur as well, is kind of reminding us of this. Where's my bookmarks? I can show you. So as you can see, that like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has reached a peak concurrent on day 2. I think it's higher right now, actually. No, sorry, but Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has set a new peak record of 71,000 concurrent players on Steam on day 2. Bear in mind, it's not even the weekend yet. It's still the work week. And they're already peaking at 71,000. This is a game made by 30 people. And it's turn-based. Like this should be very, very, very niche. And it's already popping off. But it's because it's a masterpiece. It's also taken the space for the #1 rated game on Metacritic for 2025. It actually broke past Blueprints.
7 donated $20 through Super Chat. From your Marathon Alpha video, I'm feeling a disconnect from the short films and the gameplay. The video shows an ominous, dangerous environment, questioning identity and the soul, but then see a pretty generic...
I'll cut it off. But then you see a pretty generic shooter. It's when you play it, it doesn't feel as generic. It feels very Apex-y, but honestly very slow. I really think the more I've played the alpha, because I played it more last night, I really think they should just get rid of the stamina bar. I really don't think it adds anything. I think it just like have some characters with abilities that can go faster, have some that go slower. Like just get rid of it. the stamina bar is killing that game, I think. But my biggest problem with Marathon, and again, thank you for the 20. That's crazy generous. Thank you. But my biggest thing with Marathon is that I just think right now, there's nothing that makes it feel really special compared to other extraction shooters and other first-person shooters. There's just nothing that really hooks you in that way. And it's an alpha, so I get it. But they say the things that are unique and exciting are coming after launch, which is not good.
The White Wolf donated £10 through Super Chat. Keep up the good content.
Thank you.
Do you think with Indie on PS5 only having 20 GB on the disc is the beginning of the end of physical media?
I mean, I think the beginning of the end was a long time ago. I think, you know, even the push with COVID was a big thing. Even back in like 2018, you remember the stories of Fallout 76 having physical copies, but you'd open it up and it was just a piece of cardboard with the game code written on it. Like, it's been going this way for a long time. It's not just a new thing, unfortunately. But people have also been voting with their wallets. And, you know, nobody's forcing you, except in the instances where there is no physical edition of a game. But when there's a physical and a digital version, nobody's forcing you to buy the digital over the physical. They might try to push you that way by offering pre-order bonuses, by offering more convenience, by offering maybe special cosmetics that only come in the digital version. Maybe there's even a discount, like Mario Kart being $10 cheaper digital than physical. They'll do things like that to push you into digital, but you could still buy physical if you want. And yet still, like 70, 80% of all game sales are digital. And it's going up every year. Like, gamers are just choosing to buy digital instead of physical. And so eventually they'll just stop making the physical copies. You know, this is how it's going to happen because they make more money on it. And gamers like the convenience. Because again, it's not just you and me. The vast, vast, vast majority of gamers are the more casual crowd that
Perpsnerps donated $10 through Super Chat. Luke, you see Hunger gameplay reveal on IGN today?
Hunger gameplay reveal? I don't think so. Hunger gameplay reveal? Hunger? There's a knock on the door. Who's that? Ew, Hunger. I've opened it in another tab. We can look at that in a minute. We have the podcast today, which is why I'm like, ooh, I got to get through it. I got to work through this. Melissa, I'm fashionably late. Yes, you are. Glad to have you. Digital is cheaper and more convenient. Way cheaper, by the way. It depends on the platform. PlayStation and Nintendo both have, like, there's not even a dispute. Like, the data is very clear. They have far higher average prices for copies of games compared to other platforms like Steam. Steam is ridiculous. I mean, Steam is goated, let's be honest. But Steam stuff goes on sale constantly, and there's a lot of competition in that space, and so it drives prices down. PlayStation stuff doesn't go on sale anywhere near as deeply as it used to. Things tend to go on sale very shallow when they do go on sale, like 10%. Whereas on Steam, you might get like 80% discounts for summer sale or whatever. And then Nintendo just doesn't put stuff on sale. They're just like, nope. So even though it's digital and they should be making more money on it, justifying lower prices, they don't. They just keep it where it is and make all the profit. So digital should be cheaper, but it's not. And especially when you compare like physical versions of games and you introduce that into the equation, physical versions of like Breath of the Wild go for maybe $20 where I'm at, where I live, like $15, $20 because so many people bought it. Whereas the digital version is still going for $70. So in a lot of cases, the physical version, once you get a little far out from release, the physical version is actually cheaper than the digital, so long as you're willing to buy, you know, a used copy. But it's not like that matters. Like, it doesn't matter. We're past the days of like worrying about scratched discs and stuff. You know, it's not really a big concern anymore because they make you re-download the whole game anyways. Yeah. Plus, then you can resell it. Yeah. Joe, thank you for that too. Just ended Act 1 in Expedition 33, 4 a.m. in Australia. I cannot sleep. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. It only gets better from here. Just wait. Just wait. My buddy Corey sent me the funniest text yesterday. It was so freaking funny. I died laughing. He texted me because I had said, obviously, I love Clair Expedition. I think it's a masterpiece. I love it. And he's been very excited for the game too. And he was like, yeah, I'm excited to get it. And then yesterday, right as he was about to start the game up for the first time, he texted me and said, wait, I just realized if you really like this game, it probably means it's sad as shit. It's like, there's some sad moments, yeah, but you got to push through it, you know, because I like sad stuff. Corey's the one I've told you guys about where like he does not like La La Land because La La Land has kind of a sad, you know, ending. He doesn't like movies or stories and things that just end tragically or depressingly. Like he's just even if it's thought provoking. It's like, I'm playing this to escape reality and the sadness of life. I want stuff to be happy and fun. And so it was just funny that he was like, so if you really like it, it probably means it's sad as shit. It's like, yeah, kind of. Okay, let me catch up on this real quick. Sub Luke, hope everything's going well. Is it worth getting Expedition 33 Deluxe or should I just get the standard? I don't think it matters. If anything, I'd say consider the Deluxe to support the devs. Because again, it's 30 people and it's a remarkable accomplishment. So if you have the extra money and you're willing to like throw it to them as a sign of support, I'd say go for Deluxe, but there's not really any. I mean, I think it's cosmetics that they give you extra in the Deluxe. I don't think it's anything like significant or crazy. So, you know, it's up to you, but yeah, if you can support them extra, go for it. Just buying the game is supporting them enough, you know? Yeah. Excuse me. ZG digital. Oh, I just read that one. Joe, thank you for that. 2. Oh, I just read that one. And Jargon, thank you for the 2. So Oblivion Remake Deluxe or regular edition WTB. What to buy? Maybe that's what that means. Deluxe or I just do regular. I don't think you need horse armor. Call me crazy. I don't think you need horse armor. Some people will say that's offensive what I just said, but I stand by it. Real quick, let me touch on this and blast through it before we got the podcast. But okay, well, I might have Jacob. I'm just gonna restart this because it'll be easier for you to cut it together. Okay, new segment. Okay. Also, thank you, Jocelyn, for resubbing on Twitch. That's tremendous. Thank you. That's very generous of you. Glad to have you. And Lonely Fades. Also, thank you for the sub with Prime. And Kuku Bendu. Thank you. That was yesterday when we weren't streaming, but still, I'm glad to have you. Thank you. Okay. So Clair Expedition 33 has smashed player expected concurrent numbers on Steam. Granted, this isn't even considering console players or Game Pass players, of which there are many. They've set a record, this was 2 hours ago, of 71,000 concurrent players on Steam just on day 2. I think it's actually higher now. Let me check. Steam DB Expedition 33. Let's see. No, it's down to 57. Okay, so 24-hour peak, 71,225. 71,225. And this is still a weekday, my friends. It's only going to go up on the weekend. Tell you what, and that's crazy because, again, this is a game made by 30 people. 30 people. Bear in mind, also, this is 30 people, most of whom used to work at Ubisoft. Let that sizzle in, okay? Let that simmer for a second. It's why I've been so insistent that, like, even at studios, or maybe rather I should say publishers that you find detestable, you should never just blindly say, oh, the devs suck, or oh, the developers don't know what they're doing, or oh, this or that about the devs. In my experience, the developers on all sorts of games, even games like, you know, Just Dance or something, are very capable and they know what they want to do and what gamers really are hoping for. 90% of the time. The problem with these games from big publishers, EA, Take-Two, Ubisoft, whatever, it comes from the executives getting their grubby mitts involved. That's where the problems come from. Because you see what happens when those devs that previously, the game director, the studio director, the guy that is responsible for Expedition 33, the big head honcho guy at Sandfall Interactive, you know the last game he worked on? Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Yeah. And then he makes this. It's about ideas. It's about talent. It's about letting them do what they want to do. And then you see what they're able to deliver. It's wild. It's wild. But you have to let the devs do what they know how to do and to do what they think needs to be done and what they believe in. And you see the results. I mean, They've already sold over 500,000 copies. This is sold copies, okay? At probably that $45 price point, with some deluxe editions mixed in to probably increase that point, or $45 price point with some premiums. But this 500 copies sold, not counting what is included on Game Pass, which is also probably significant. Because again, remember, most deals on Game Pass pay out a flat fee up front, and they pay out a fee based on hours played. Because Game Pass is all about keeping players engaged. So if somebody is playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 for 50, 60, 70 hours, or they do New Game Plus and they go for another 60 and they finish with 100 hours, that right there is a good chunk of change. We don't know exactly what. They keep that, secret. They don't tell the public. But either way, they're making bank on this. They're doing well, as they should. It is currently the top-rated game of 2025. It was beat out by Blueprints for about 18 hours, but as more reviews were published, it actually broke in the decimal points. They're both still at 92 out of 100 on Metacritic, but it actually broke past on the decimal range Blueprints, and it is now the highest rated game of 2025. And again, it was made by 30 people. 30 people. They might be like, Luke, what does that matter? I mean, it's 30 people's 30 people, and it's a game with a tighter scope. Exactly, okay? This is a game that has been produced with a small team, a passionate team, over the course of roughly 5 years. It started about 5 years ago during COVID, and then they started adding in more people that they knew from other studios and Ubisoft and from previous jobs they had worked, and they just slowly built it out into what it is now. But this is a perfect example of how I think the AAA mindset in that corporate C-suite has corrupted the industry, okay? For about a decade, maybe even more, maybe 2 decades, executives always just assumed if we put more devs on and we put more money into a project, it will therefore be better. And that is, in my opinion, not true. I was going to say that, in my opinion, it's objectively not true, which doesn't make any sense, which is why I caught myself. But in my opinion, it doesn't actually lead to that result. Yeah, it makes the game bigger. Yeah, it makes the scope of the game increase. Yes, it might allow you to put it on more platforms. It might allow you to put more DLC into it day one. But it doesn't make a better game. The quality is determined by the ideas. Blueprints, also an indie game. It's the number 2 rated game of 2025. Clair Obscure Expedition 33, technically an indie game. Very, very tight, limited budget. Very tight. The 3rd place game in this list on Metacritic, which Metacritic isn't everything, but it's usually a good idea of like roughly what the consensus is in terms of quality. The 3rd game is Split Fiction, which is also a very pro-consumer game. It offers a friend pass where you only need to buy 1 copy, and then your friends can play it even if they don't buy a copy. They can play through the whole game with you in split-screen co-op, or even in remote online co-op with each other. You only have to buy 1 copy. And that's from EA. EA with a pro-consumer offering that players connected with and loved. And it also was a great game that was just creative and wacky without all this live service bullcrap, And the 4th place game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I also love dearly. It's fantastic. Also, just a really solid game that was made with a fairly tight budget. Does anybody remember the exact number, what they said the budget was on KCD2? It wasn't very high. It was like shockingly low. And they turned a profit on day 1. Which honestly, Clair Obscure probably also turned a profit day 1. It was like 40 million or something. Yeah, it was like between 40 and 50 million US dollars. Yeah, 47 or something. Yeah, it was way less than you would have thought. But it's because it was properly scoped. And they knew what they were making, and they didn't waste time doing all this. But this is why it's just about ideas. Like, it really is about the ideas and the passion of the team. We've been talking about Marathon, for example, a lot the last week or so since they did the full reveal of it. And the most shocking thing about that game is that it's been in development for 5 to 6 years. They've spent tons of money. Who knows how much money they've spent developing that game. But it was fully rebooted when Joe Ziegler joined the team. And we looked it up on stream on, I think, Wednesday. Joe Ziegler only joined at Bungie 2.5 years ago. It was like 2 years, 5 months ago. And they rebooted the whole game. Before he joined, it was not a hero-based extraction shooter. It was just an extraction shooter based totally on gear. Like, they rebooted the entire thing since he joined after leaving Valorant, which he previously game directed. So, but that's how like a lot of these corporations and more corporate development cycles work, is that they just spend 5, 6, 7 years on something and just throw everything at the wall, waste tons of time, tons of resources, tons of money on ideas, and then they try to settle on something in the last minute. You know, I think it's just, you can't buy creativity. You can't buy a good idea. You either have it or you don't. And I think what Expedition 33 represents is a phenomenal realization of that concept, which is just simply that if you have a good idea and a passionate team of capable devs, you can make a masterpiece that people love and people are willing to support. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. It doesn't take 2,000 devs working on something for 3 years, trying to throw something together that you think people will like because you had a focus group come in and they said that they liked it. You know, when you start developing games like that, you end up with, you know, modern AAA slop where you have NPCs explaining how to solve puzzles before you even see that there's a puzzle. You know, yellow paint everywhere because we did a focus test and we invited Dark Side Phil in and he couldn't figure out where to go. So we just put giant glowing arrows pointing everywhere you're supposed to go. Don't do that. Okay. I think games like Elden Ring, Clair Obscur, Blueprints, these are all phenomenal games that don't hold your hand at all. And players love it. But I think if you were to take these games into like focus group testing, a lot of people would be like, well, I honestly struggled with the turn-based. Can we turn the parrying off in Expedition 33? The parrying is tough. I don't like that. If they listened to that kind of feedback, the game would be, like, in my opinion, it would be worse. You get rid of the parries in Expedition 33, you're removing an incredible mechanic out of that game that's so intuitive and makes so much sense to include in a turn-based game like this. But again, it's I think what happens when you have so much money on the line that just having your idea and standing against the focus groups and being like, no, we're not going to change it. We're doing it this way. That's seen as such an unreasonable risk that these executives can't stand it. So instead, they put all their games through waves of focus testing. And they just push and push and push and wait until they get the all clear from the most generic group of players you've ever seen. And the game comes out and people are like, yep, it feels generic. It feels kind of uninspired because it literally is. Any inspiration that was there was cut because Timmy Two Shoes struggled with the parry system. Because Philip couldn't figure out where to go. So you had to put paint everywhere. You know? But if you have a good idea, and you stand by it, your game can explode and be phenomenal. It can be great. People will eat it up. But this is, again, going back to what I said before. I think this is why the AAA mindset has kind of corrupted the industry, because it's raised the budgets to the point where risks are anathema. Risks cannot be taken. It's unreasonable. It's irrational. We cannot do that. So instead, we just do whatever is safest, or whatever we think is safest. Which leads to some funny conclusions like Saints Row reboot, where they honestly thought that was like kind of a safe bet. Like, oh, well, we have to play it safe. So let's make a bunch of characters in the story that we think are relatable to gamers. That'll be safe. Turns out they just happen to make a cast of the most obnoxious, annoying people on the planet. But that's what happens when you're out of touch. You know, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. But this is why I've also said that, like, people have asked after the collapse of games like Concord, for example, they're like, is the games industry crashing? Is it happening already? And personally, I think it's already started like 6 months ago, a year ago. but it's not in the way you think. Like the game Crash is specifically third-party AAA games. I think like Square Enix has struggled with it. Obviously, Embracer Group and their studios have struggled with it. Throwing $100 million, $200 million into a project just isn't viable anymore because the people that are choosing where to throw the money have no idea what gamers actually want. So those games are going to like dry up because they're not worth the risk. But what will continue and already is excelling, but what will continue to excel are these AA games. You know, that maybe were produced with a 30 million budget, maybe 20, maybe 40 or 50 million. But, you know, it's a lot of money. But when you consider the risk reward ratio, it's a lot safer to make a $40 million game compared to making a $200 million game. It's a lot safer of a bet, especially if you made an Expedition 33 and you know players love that, and then you give this team $100 million and another 4 or 5 years to make their next thing. Then they'll be fine. Yeah, that's a safe bet. That makes sense. The guy, you know, the Blueprints team. Yeah, no, give them 50 million. Let them go for a few years. That makes sense. Yeah, do that. KCD2, yeah, that popped off. They only spent 47 million last year. Okay, well, let's give them 80. Let's see what they can do. Still an amazingly safe bet because you know that they know what they're doing. So long as you keep your mitts off of them, you know. That's the key. But the success of Expedition 33, I think, is really good for the industry. Not just that it's reviewed well, which I think is also important because it wakes up executives. Because here's the thing that maybe it's easy to forget. Executives love shiny things, okay? They love them. They love putting the trophy on the shelf behind them. So when they have somebody come into their office, they get to point at it. They love shiny stuff. They love it. There was that story.
Hey Luke, this is Terry Two Shoes and Philip's mom. I mean they are really hurt that you called them generic. Yellow is their favorite color and my fault that I dropped them on their head and they don't know where to go.
I mean, I appreciate you acknowledging that it was your fault that you dropped them. Jesus Christ. Oh, you're gonna kill me. I worked out today. I can't breathe, man. Oh. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Caleb. That's very generous. I'm sorry, not Caleb. Terry, Two Shoes, and Philip's mom. Thank you. Thank you for that. Very generous. But, what I was saying was, executives love shiny stuff, and executives hate being hated. You know, they cannot stand it. They can't. There were stories that came out back in like the 2014, 15, 16, 17 era. You remember back when EA won Worst Company in America award twice in a row? It was amazing. They literally blew it so bad, like 2 years in a row, that they lost to like horrifying companies like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, like companies that actively screwed millions of people, stole money from, like, horrible stuff. And you know, they just happened to beat them out because they had a lot of microtransactions. But there were stories in reporting that EA executives were horribly embarrassed. They were livid. They're like, we've got to fix this. We can't stand this. And EA, honestly, I mean, they worked on it. They made progress. Again, EA published Game of the Year 2021. And they published Split Fiction, you know, same team. That's crazy.
Clap C donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Expedition 33 is the first game that has made me feel guilty for playing it through Game Pass.
Isn't that remarkable? Isn't that crazy? But I will say, people are like, don't play through Game Pass, buy it for cash. We don't know the terms of the agreement. We don't know if they make, I would guess they make more if you just buy it straight, but I don't know that for sure. I mean, maybe, because again, it's usually tied to hours played. If you play 80 hours on Game Pass, they might make more of a profit than what they make in profit off Steam. I don't know. Because again, it's based on hours played. So if you're going to play it on Game Pass, just make sure to play a lot of it. That's the trick. Okay. That's the key. That's the hack. Let's see. What was I saying? Oh, but yeah, executives, they don't like being hated. They like showing up to the conferences and being praised and getting asked for pictures. They like feeling like a rock star, you know? They don't like showing up and everybody booing them when they come out on stage. Like, what's the guy that runs the NFL? Is it Goodell, something like that? I saw a clip of him at like the draft, and the moment he walks on stage, boo! Like everybody starts booing him instantly. The whole crowd. Like there is not a single person applauding for this man that runs the entire industry that they celebrate and enjoy. Not a single person, you know? I don't think he likes that, you know? It's kind of a running joke, yeah, at this point. Like he leans into it and they joke about it. But like nobody wants to come out on stage at E3 and get booed, you know? And I think if you saw like Jim Ryan come out on stage at E3, he probably could get some boos because of his reputation. Nobody really likes that, okay? Executives like being praised. They like having the trophies. And I've been to some of these game studios as well. I was just at Bungie. You know what they have in their lobby? All the awards that they've won in big glass cases. It's like one of the first things you see when you walk in. You do like the security check-in. They put you through the metal detectors and everything. And then boom, right there. There's a bunch of trophies that they've won as a studio. Haven't won many recently, but they're there, you know? They're right there. And so never underestimate the power of a good Metacritic score for executives. That goes a long way. And it has for a while. You remember the story about Fallout New Vegas? Fallout New Vegas was thrown together in about 18 months. Remarkable achievement. It's broken as hell even now, but still, it's remarkable that that game even exists with how little time they had to do it. But one of the deals that Bethesda gave them was that they would get paid out a bonus if the Metacritic were above 85. So they put a monetary incentive on getting a higher Metacritic score because they cared that much. And they only got an 84, so they didn't get their bonus. Oops. I will say, some people give Bethesda a lot of crap for that because they're like, isn't that crazy? They screwed them out of their bonuses. I'm like, I don't see it that way. Like they said, you get this Metacritic score, you get the bonus. You don't get it, you don't get the bonus. It's not 84 plus or minus 2, because then it's just 83. Like it's 85, you know? I've never understood that people get freaked out or super annoyed by that. Like, I think it was a stretch to begin with. The fact they got to 84 is crazy cool because they didn't have much time. If anything, you should give them crap for how much or how little time they were given to make that game. But, you know, over the Metacritic thing, I've always found that to be a weird and kind of stupid reason to be upset about it. But anyway, all of this to say, I think Expedition 33 success is a very good thing for the industry. I'm so glad to see that people are eating it up and are enjoying it. I encourage everybody to go play it if you have not already. It's very, very good, and you will be thankful that you did. Okay? Please, for the love of God, go play it. Thank you. The super chat. I'm not sure. Is it going to read it out? Hey, Luke, you think with Oblivion Remaster is a test for the Elder Scrolls 6 with Unreal and creation? I think that's a really good question. I personally don't think so. I would love to be wrong. I don't actually know if I would love to be wrong. The big thing is if they do that, I think mods go into the dumpster. And mods are kind of a huge thing for Bethesda and for Elder Scrolls in general. So if they do that, I think the mod scene gets decimated pretty hard, unless they're building tools to make it work. But at the very least, I think it's a good sign that it's possible. The fact it is possible breaks my brain. Like even down to some of the little bitty stuff where I saw the clip where they had kept the one lady, the one NPC's lines where she goes, damn it, let me try that again. And she does the line twice. And it was a bug in the original one, or like not even a bug, like a mistake where they put the double recording in and they kept it. And that's still in the remaster. Like they kept all of that. They didn't try to fix any of it. So I think it's really impressive that they were able to basically just put it through Unreal, and Unreal just kind of runs it as a wrapper, basically. But it's very cool. Very, very cool. We are running low on time because we've got the podcast with Jor here in a minute. So maybe I touch on this. Okay. Real quick. News segment. I asked you guys on stream, I think on Monday, because it was right after The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2. I asked you guys whether you knew anybody that had watched The Last of Us who had no idea what happens to Joel. Okay, so I guess at the outset I should say, spoiler for what happens in The Last of Us Part 2. I think everybody watching here knows. I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anybody, but I want to be clear. We're about to talk about what happens in Episode 2 of Season 2 of The Last of Us show and what happens at the first 2 hours of The Last of Us Part 2. Okay, warning aside, Joel. Okay, a lot of people have strong attachments to Joel, right? And I wanted to know if gamers were alone in how repulsed they were with the reaction and with the presentation of Joel's killing, you know? And so I actually found some clips. I went on TikTok, the hive mind of the internet, and I found some snippets of people reacting to Joel's death. And it's very funny. This is another thing we'll talk about another time because this guy has a whole extended universe of characters, and it's basically just he just says whatever game or movie he's been watching recently and pretends like it's his own character. It's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that later another time. But the the Last of Us thing, it's quite funny. So let me just show you, okay? Let me show you because there's a phrase that's spoken here that I think is something we can all relate to. Okay, let's see. This is from Julia, with a picture of Daniel Larson of all people. Whatever. Here we go. Oh wait, is it muted? Unmute. Oh. I'm not watching anymore. So we thought, some of us were like, I don't know, maybe gamers are just particularly attached to Joel. No, I don't think that's what it is. A lot of people that watch this were like, nope, I'm out. I'm done.
I hope she gets her and just kills her. Like, that's my dad.
Sorry, it's only coming out of the right channel of audio. I don't know why that is. If you only have one earphone in, swap it to the right one. It's mono for some reason.
Get in there and fucking kill the bitch. Shoot her in the head.
Jesus.
He can't get up. Oh no.
Oh no.
He can't get up. I can't watch. This is too much. Oh my god. Well, I'm done. I'm never watching this show again. Is he coming back?
I'm never watching this show again. Oh, we feel ya. We feel ya. Oh, but the reason I kind of love this as a reaction, okay, and it's not just these two clips, it's many. That was by Hyper Restless, by the way, on TikTok. The reason that I find these clips interesting is because it shows that the bond between Joel and the audience is not just in the games, it's also in the show as well. And also there was some kind of toxic insinuation back in the day, at least with The Last of Us Part 2, where it was the outrage over Joel's death was just because gamers are they throw fits, they're unreasonable, they just like being upset about stuff. They hated that he was killed by Abby, instead of a dude. And there were all sorts of insinuations and kind of insulting stuff towards the gaming community in general for reacting the way that most gamers reacted to Joel's death, where at the very least, even if you liked the story of The Last of Us Part 2, I think everybody could agree it was heavy-handed. No? Okay, I'll move on. It was maybe rushed. It was clear what they were trying to do, but I don't think it was presented or handled in the best way possible. Personally, I think that the show so far has been kind of butchering Abby's presentation with everything. Because in the game, part of what worked is that the players didn't know Abby, and so they hated her, and then they try to flip the perspective and explain why maybe what she did wasn't that crazy, or wasn't that, it was a little crazy, but wasn't totally unexplainable. You know, it was motivated, even if it was an emotional choice. However, in the show, they present it with basically Abby just immediately shown to the audience. They explain everything in excruciating detail right up front. So it removes all of the mystery. It's just immediately like, I feel like it kind of takes a golf club to the shins and just knocks your feet out from under you with a shotgun. Okay, I'm going to stop. I feel like this is heavy-handed, these references. I'm just going to move. But I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the rest of the season, to see how everybody reacts to it, if they actually end up connecting with Abby in the long run, or if the audience also is just totally screw you guys with this. I think it's also going to matter if they do a lot of flashbacks with Pedro, or if they keep it more separate now that Pedro's on the ground bleeding out. Maybe they just move on and they talk about Joel, but they don't ever really show Joel again. I would guess they do a lot of flashbacks, but time will tell. Time will tell. They really drive it home despite the rough patches it may have caused, but it's on par with the current state of gaming for good job, Mendez. That's good. Oh my God. So all of this to say, I just find these reactions very entertaining, very interesting. I think they reveal that this is not just a gamer reaction to the story. It's more of a human reaction to the story. We've bonded with Joel. We've bonded with the character himself, and the way that they handled his death, I think was it was intentionally upsetting. But then I think that they were surprised that players and people in general were so upset. Like, they wanted you to feel upset enough to be motivated to go kill Abby so that they can flip the perspective and then make you play as Abby and see maybe Joel sort of deserved to die. Maybe he was actually the bad guy. If this was a video game told from the start from Abby's side, you'd be rooting for her to kill Joel. You know, you'd be rooting for that. But it's just because of the perspective that you feel this way. And it's like, I get it, but I don't have to like it. You know, you intentionally killed him off in a very upsetting way, and then you acted surprised when I was really, really upset. And that's why I think that the show's reaction reveals that this is just a human reaction, not just gamers being unreasonable. You know, it's all about perspective. Yeah. Okay. We've got the podcast here in a second. Let me catch up on these super chats real quick. Let's see, where did I go? Kino Mansky, thank you for 18 months, ooh baby, of membership. E33, lip sync problem. Bungie Marathon is another example of a lot of legacy studios that are creatively dead, and studios like Sandfall are so promising. Yeah, well, I mean, Marathon is such a special situation because they have so much writing on this. Like, they were bought for $3.7 billion, and they have to justify that that expense, and that is not easy to do. Like, you have to have one hell of a game to justify a $3.7 billion purchase price, and I'm not currently sure if Marathon is that game, you know. Let's see. Real serious. Thank you for that super chat. Have you seen the God Save Birmingham gameplay trailer? Seems cool, but it's giving off fake game vibes like the day before. God Save Birmingham. Have I seen that one? Oh, this is the trailer that dropped like 5 hours ago. I saw this in my feed. I didn't watch through the whole thing. Yeah, I haven't watched this whole thing. We'll watch it. We'll check it out. It is a farmer versus zombie gameplay or zombie. Okay, I can't read. Farmer versus zombie game set in medieval Birmingham, England. So you play as like a farmer peasant fighting infected zombie peasants. Interesting. It's interesting. I haven't heard from Jor yet, so I can pull that up. But here, God Save Birmingham. God Save Birmingham. Dilly dilly. Isn't it? I guess it was officially revealed 8 months ago, but they just dropped the gameplay reveal trailer. Where was the original gameplay reveal trailer? Hold on. Where was the original one? Because all of these are like stupid re-uploaders. Does IGN have it? Knowing them, it's in like 500p. There we go. Yeah, okay, that was, it just didn't show up in search for some reason. Okay. But look at this. Look at this. New mini segment. Real Serious asks, have you seen God Save Birmingham gameplay trailer? I have not. Let's see it. Let's see it. This is apparently a zombie game set in Birmingham, England, 1359. Are you sure this is set in 30? It looks pretty similar to how it does today. Realistic zombie survival with deadly physics. Clyde. That's a lot of zombies, isn't it? Dude, British jokes will never not be funny in this chat. I do declare it. Looting. So one of the things Real Serious said was, seems cool, but it's giving off fake game vibes like the day before. It's... Oh, I feel you, bro. That's how it feels making YouTube videos sometimes. Just...
God have mercy.
I mean, so far it looks doable. It looks very doable. I'm not familiar with the studio. Who's doing it? So far it looks doable, but this feels like one of those games that could get like a massive visual downgrade at launch, you know? Oh, it's a big boy, a bigger meatball. Oh, oh. Jesus Christ.
Damn thing.
So this is one of those games that might actually be like difficult to cover on YouTube because Dead Island 2 with the gore system, you couldn't post videos of that and like without YouTube flagging your video and everything. This is probably going to be on that level. Interesting. But I mean, so far, I'm not seeing anything that's like crazy unachievable. Usually crowd density will plummet in these games close to launch. But like seeing some stuff that isn't like ideal. If it was totally fake, I think you wouldn't see the same zombie model copied multiple times. Because I think that that would be like, if you're going to fake it all the way so it looks amazing. You know, don't repeat models and stuff. But the fact they're using repeated models to me is actually encouraging because it shows that it's probably real, you know? But it's interesting. It's interesting. 8 minutes of the trailer. Let's see, but is it a new studio? Ocean Drive. They made Veil of the Witch, which very positive. Section 13, mostly positive. So they've done some stuff. I don't think I've heard of these, but they've made games before. They're not total noobs or anything. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. It doesn't look bad. It's the gameplay, looks a little slower, but it looks like it's going to be coming to early access specifically, and they'll keep developing it through early access. Not my favorite. I'm glad that they can at least get some cash up front to keep finishing it, but I usually jump into games once they hit 1.0. Just my policy typically. And then let me catch up, and then I just heard from Jor, so we're going to hop on the podcast with him in just a second. Okay, so the whole thing is bad because Joel's death is fine. It's how they did it and handled it is what upsets people. It's all for shock factor. I think that in the game, they were trying to piss people off in the way that they killed him because they wanted you to be motivated to kill Abby, and they wanted to see if they push you all the way to that point where you are just as filled with rage as Ellie is. They wanted to then see if they could swing you all the way to the other side, which I think that in the game they didn't quite accomplish because I just don't personally think that they achieved that. But in the show, I think it also comes off as just like, I don't know if we needed to do this. They wanted to make you feel like Ellie. They wanted to make you feel like The Last of Us Part 2. Thank you, Vons, for the dollar super chat. I can't breathe. Oh my God. Okay. Sumaya, Luke, are you a AA game or a AAA game? You know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you. But you know the answer. And then real quick, Perps Nerps. Jesus. Thank you for the 10. Don't forget to check out the Hunger gameplay reveal in the podcast. Hunger. I
donated $10.
I can do that. What we're gonna do, fam, here.
In podcast.
Share the link. Okay, I'm gonna put this link into the chat. If you're on Twitch, you can stay put right where you are. You don't need to move at all. But if you're on YouTube, we're gonna head over to that other event that I just put in the chat, and we're gonna hang out with Joel Raptor, talk about games. It's gonna be a good time, okay, my friends? Much love. I'll see you in just a minute over on the Free Roam podcast, okay? Much love. I'll see you very, very soon. Hugs and kisses. See you in a minute. Bye-bye.